If I have kids, I genuinely will not send them to traditional school because it is the first place that we learned that being accepted matters more than being your real self. Because standing out could cost us our belonging. Like, literally, think back to the kid when you were in high school, secondary school, wherever you're from, whatever you called it. Think back to the kid that was different from everyone else, that did things differently, that went against the grain. First of all, think of their situation at school. Were they surrounded by people or were they isolated? Secondly, you probably, with our friends, you made fun of this person. Even friendships, they were based on people pleasing, otherwise, we were excluded. Like, fear of being seen, it literally begins in school. People are trying to be liked but authentic, successful but not too intimidating, visible but not judged at the same time. Like, we shapeshift a lot to simply to try and belong. But eventually you realize when you get older that by doing this, you are attracting the wrong people and all your relationships in your life, they're not even aligned. Like when you pretend you are okay with everything in dating and that you flex on being low maintenance and then you end up attracting a bare minimum partner. You realize that you've been showing a certain self to be accepted, constantly over explaining yourself, mellowing down your opinions just to avoid conflict and to keep the peace. And you suddenly you will have this realization that you can't keep betraying yourself to stay in these connections because you probably don't even enjoy these connections anyway. So for the first time, you start choosing yourself. You choose to be authentic over being accepted. However, this brings with it fear of abandonment, being alone. But you must remember that the right people, they will recognize and they will accept your real self. And these are the people that you want in your life. And I need to add to this and say it will very likely be new people, not the people that you currently have in your life. And you know what? That is okay. But you need to remember that you cannot attract the right people if you are not showing your real self. Like, okay, no man is an island, but I would rather be an island than be surrounded by the wrong people in my life. And when you do this, when you start showing your real self, you will have new opportunities appearing that are more aligned, more new relationships that are better for you, maybe even new income streams, and you will start feeling like your real self more. But this will, of course, it will bring uncomfortableness because when you start expressing yourself openly, some people will not like it and you will lose people, but you're not going to lose any genuine connections anyway, because up until this point, you were not being your real self. But also, the question that comes up is like, who actually are you? Because when you stop being who you're expected to be, you will eventually give the opportunity to yourself to meet your real face. Because when you stop being who you're expected to be, you give yourself the opportunity, but at the same time, you are being forced anyway to meet your real self. However, this phase can look like isolation, lots of alone time, and being misunderstood. And again, that is okay. And during this phase, you are recalibrating. You are allowing yourself to be seen for who you actually are. And this will look different for everyone, but it can look like you stop over explaining, you stop seeking validation, you stop trying to prove something to other people. It's almost like what everyone else thinks, but not in a rude way. And you will eventually, the longer you do it, you will realize that authenticity does equal visibility, but at the same time, it can equal joy, and you will feel more alive. And all of that will eventually lead to more success in your life, in everything, your lifestyle, money, relationships, you name it, and you have it. The funny thing is that a lot of people fear being seen and they fear showing their real selves out of fear of being rejected, but they are being rejected anyway because they're not being accepted for who they really are. When you stop shapeshifting and when you stop acting like a chameleon, which, by the way, when people are saying that you are a nice person and that how everyone likes you, it's not a compliment, so get it right. Your work, it will improve. Your relationships, they will become become more meaningful. You're suddenly calmer and you stop running on cortisol. But even your money, it becomes more stable in your life because you start living your truth and you realize that by being your real self, that is where true safety lies. Anyway, guys, I love you and thank you for joining me on this rant.